Glenn Suter.
Thank you, Kate. From the grounds of the CNE, we welcome everyone to Week 12 of the CFL, and the Riders and Argos. Much talked about matchup, Glenn, for obvious reasons. First and foremost, last year's most outstanding player becoming this year's most controversial player in Chad Kelly. But his suspension is over, and the Argos are ready to welcome him back.
Yeah, Chad Kelly has served his 9-game suspension. He has completed the required counseling and has apologized publicly for his off-field transgressions. Tonight he returns to the starting lineup. And remember, last year he led the Argos to 15 regular season wins. Trevor Harris is making his return in Game 2. He returned last week from injury, and despite missing 6 starts, didn't miss a beat. 355 yards passing. Didn't get the win against Montreal, but Harris is back.
Corey Mason, his first year as head coach of the Riders, back at BMO for the first time since leaving the Argos after last season. He'd been defensive coordinator here for 2 years, working for Ryan Dinwiddie. Some old friends going back to their days together coaching with the Calgary Stampeders, but rivals on this day. They met earlier back in Week 5 in Regina, and it was Saskatchewan winning that game. Janarian Grant, Deontay McMahon back for this one. The Argos won the toss. They want the ball, and Brett Lothar will be sending it their way from the Rider 30. Week 12 CFL underway here at BMO Field in Toronto, and Janarian Grant has to go right to the sideline to pick this one up. Always dangerous, and the Riders certainly know that. He had a return touchdown against them back in Week 5. He's taken down by Adam O'Clair. So here comes Chad Kelly, his first game since last November, and that was his worst game in his young CFL career, losing the East Final to Montreal.
Yeah, it was a game that he wants to quickly forget and move on, but 15-1 in the regular season for Chad Kelly, completing just about 70% of his passes. 4 times he threw for over 300 yards. And the thing the offense is missing for the Argos, their 5-win start to this season, the deep ball.
So 1st and 10, and a quick toss off to Deontay McMahon. Brian Cox is in there to take him down for about a loss of a yard. A 2nd and long coming up here for the Toronto Argonauts.
Kelly won his last 9 regular season games. Take a look at the offense in front of him. Anthony Vandalo playing for Gregor McKellar at right guard for the 2nd straight start. And then if you look at the backfield, it's Kadeem Carey who has provided the energy that they expected.
Throwing on 2nd down and long. It is caught. It's a 1st down to Mackay Polk, and that's Kelly's first chance to work with the new receiver of the Argos. Gets it up closer to midfield.
Settled in with a long, wide field out to get things started for Chad Kelly in his first game back. Spiral to the sideline, and Pope right there to pull it in. That's his 25th catch of the campaign.
In his first year out of Mississippi State, he gets it up to the 48 of Toronto. Opening possession. And it's swinging it out to David Ungerer now, who cuts back. And Ungerer, good yardage after the catch as he gets it right up to midfield as we take a look at that Saskatchewan defense.
Malik Carney's on a bit of a roll. He's got 3 quarterback sacks in the last 2 games. And this is a team that likes to take the football. They lead in the giveaway takeaway category, first in the CFL. Jameer Thurman, a big part of that, with 3 fumble returns so far this year. And a guy that's just filling the stat sheet. I mean, I'm talking about filling the stat sheet and leading the league in almost everything. Roland Milligan.
What an outstanding season on defense and special teams for number 0 Saskatchewan. 2nd down and 3. 1st down and more. Kadeem Carey with his first carry of this game as he gets it inside the Rider 50.
It was a heavy set, an extra offensive lineman in there, and Kadeem Carey, as I mentioned, he's, as advertised for Kadeem Carey. We all knew what he could do, and then we moved to Toronto. I mean, this is a guy who has just delivered. Hard running up in the middle, and let's see, one of the front runners for defensive player at the halfway mark gets blocked up pretty nicely there by DeVaris Daniel. 1st
down at the Rider 50. Kelly throwing again. Coming in and looking for it back in the lineup on that Rider defense. That's Deontay Williams. Couldn't quite get to the ball, but a 2nd down on that incompletion.
Yeah, Williams has a couple picks on the season, and one of them was against Toronto. Now, Chad Kelly wasn't playing in that game, of course, but there's the seam route, a little bit behind the target, and gave Deontay Williams a better chance at the ball.
Mentioned Williams had been injured just the last several weeks, but back in his second year out of Nebraska. 2nd and 10 at the Rider 50. For Kelly, blitz coming, gets rid of it quickly, and it is caught shy of a first down to about the 43, and Richie Sindani is the receiver there, but a 3rd down is coming up and within the field goal range of Lirim Hajrullahu.
Well, I'm not surprised to see Corey Mays try to send some pressure in his first game back after not playing for half a season, to send some pressure at Chad Kelly, see if he can handle it. He did throw the hot route. They're going to go for it on 3rd down here.
They are at a full 2 yards away, right at the 42. The scrimmage it here on 3rd down. So Kelly stays in the game. Their opening possession. A trademark with him last year was working quickly. Look, did they draw the offside? The flags come out, so this could be a first down automatically by penalty for the Argos.
Well, we often say they're going to go for it on 3rd down and 2 or 3, but what they're really doing is just to see if they can draw the defense offside and get the free first down.
Lots of finger pointing as you see in these situations as to who moved first. Riders feeling this should be against the double blue. They still discuss. Referee Andre Proulx.
Illegal procedure. Toronto, number 58. Number 58. 5-yard penalty.
So it goes against the Argos.
3rd down.
Yes, a 3rd 7. Coming up now, Anthony Van Dal, the rookie right guard, is flagged for that.
Second start for him, and got a little antsy. Were they trying to draw the Saskatchewan defense offside? They showed great discipline, didn't move, and for Ryan Dinwiddie, the strategy is if you don't get it and you don't draw him, you're going to kick anyway.
They'll punt now. Hajrullahu is out, but he's double duty tonight. John Haggerty, who was in warm-up, who got hurt, one of the top punters in the CFL. So it's Hajrullahu doing the kicking and the punting. He's done double duty before in his career, back getting started in his Winnipeg days, and that one sent nicely. A good punt by Lirim Hajrullahu. Good placement, but Mario Alford has a nice little return too to get it back up closer to the 20 after he got it inside the 5. After a 43-yard punt. Trevor Harris, he came back from injury last week again. Yeah, let's go to the X. Go a little trip on the Ferris wheel. An old exhibition, the CNE, going on for years, and the annual visit here for the Argos, a home date against Saskatchewan here. Trevor Harris, and running his first play of this game. He came back last week against Montreal, handing off to Frankie Hickson in for AJ Oled, but Harris didn't look like he had any rust at all, Glenn, last week against
none.
Cal.
Yeah, none. I mean, we're talking 31 of 39, over 80%, and 355 yards, 2 touchdowns, did not throw an interception. Deserves better. There were other reasons. We'll get to that as the show goes on.
Absolutely. I mean, that was definitely a winnable game. There's Shea Patterson, who filled in at 2-3-1 and 6 starts, filling in for Trevor Harris. Watching Harris go to work now in a 2nd and 4 after that gain by Hickson, and he completes that. Sitting down nicely is Samuel Emelis, who gets it up across the 30 and a first down for the Riders.
A good talk with Trevor Harris this week, and you know, he obviously they're completely disappointed, but supporting Brett Lowther. We'll get to that as the game goes on and what happened last week against Montreal. A good defense, but to throw for 355 against that Montreal defense, that's getting back in the saddle immediately, because I mean, 0 rust on Trevor Harris last week.
He looked really sharp. Just his 4th start of the season and his first one in 8 weeks. The fake to Hickson, and looking deep right, and it's caught too. Dante Myers in just his 3rd game with the Riders, and in each of the first 2 he's had 101 yards receiving, and another big catch there for Myers.
Yeah, 2 games, 200-yard games. I mean, not a bad start for Dante Myers. And look at the drop in this football, dropping it up over the top of the coverage and right into Myers' hands. Excellent concentration, because that waving at it from the defensive back can distract you. Not Myers.
With all the injuries he's had a receiver, that gave him a shot. In Ottawa a couple of weeks ago, he had 8 catches for 101. Did it again last week. That one was for 28. And here's Hickson He too is getting a chance with the injury to ex-Argo A.J. Ouellette. Fourth start in the backfield for Frankie Hickson.
Trayvon Tate will play at right tackle. They've gone through a bunch, starting with Jamarcus Hardrick, who was lost early in the season. They get Keon Schaefer-Baker back in the receiving corps, another big play receiver, and Frankie Hickson will play for A.J. Ouellette. Ouellette's down, Hickson back up.
A few weeks ago in Montreal, when Hickson got a chance in the first half, he went off. He had almost 100 yards in the first half alone. Getting a couple of carries so far here. 2nd and 6. Argo 46. Quickly off to the right. It is Keon Schaefer-Baker. After missing 4 games with a shoulder injury, back in the lineup and gets his first touch of this night.
Yeah, in our conversation with Trevor Harris, he talked about all the answers in the offense. He said, you know, no matter what, I asked him about blitz and blitz pickup and, you know, coming back and what he's been watching from the sideline when Shea Patterson was playing. And he said, you know, our offense has an answer no matter what the defense does. It's just a matter of finding that answer. He's starting this game 3 for 3.
Trevor Harris, age 38, from Waldo, Ohio. And starting for the Riders and handing off for Hickson, who tries to weave his way through, but that Argonaut defense tough to run against there as he picks up 1, maybe 2 yards.
Remolade, a couple sacks on the season. This is his 3rd game back from injury, and he's making an impact. Got a sack in their last game against Calgary. Jones will play at middle linebacker. Wynton McManus not quite ready to return to the lineup, and Royce Metier is leading the team in tackles. And Metier, when you think about it, it's 2 reasons you lead the team in tackles as a safety. One is that you're getting picked on, or the other is you're getting down to the box and making an impact. I'll say it's column B for him.
The Argos bring pressure, and Harris gets rid of it quickly. Sean Bain covered there by Tavares McFadden, but it goes high and out of bounds, and 3rd down coming up now for Saskatchewan.
No, but a successful first drive on the road. Get down the field, complete 3 passes in a row. Nice corner route over there to Myers and line up for a field goal. And Brett Lowther now has a chance to exercise some demons early in this one.
It was a tough one. Toughest of his career last week against Montreal. Lowther went 3 for 7. He missed from 48 and would have tied the game and forced overtime. One of his kicks was returned for a touchdown on the miss by James Letcher. So, boy, they need this from him to feel good about it again, and he does pump it through. Brett Lowther, 3 on the board. First 3 points on the board in this game for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who move down the field. Chad Kelly about to come on. The Argos down a field.
He's a starting quarterback of the Toronto Argonauts, and one player described it to me as he's like an executive. There are so many more expectations on him. There will always be more questions on him. So we want to see him be more consistent, not just with his play on the field. Remember, we're trying to see how he's going to respond after the 4 interception performance in the East Final, but more specifically, how he treats his teammates and how he treats the staff. Consistency is going to be the key for Chad Kelly, Rod.
And that's an evaluation, Matthew, that goes beyond whatever happens tonight, however he plays, and he knows that. Faking the handoff and throwing in that one is incomplete. He'd been 4 for 5 in the previous possession intended for Tavares Daniels.
Well, yeah, and if you missed the pregame show, that Chad Kelly, as part of his reinstatement, had to sign a last chance clause, and he has done that. So from now on moving forward, and he mentioned to us this week that he will continue to do some counseling to stay on track and to make sure he is bettering himself, but he will be judged moving forward by his actions.
It's a 2nd and 10 from the Argo 40 as Kelly steps up. And he's throwing a deeper ball down the right, but it's at the Saskatchewan bench. So 2 and out that time for the Argos as they will be forced to punt it away. Closest receiver, Richie Sindani.
Well, you know, and he's facing a very good defense tonight. So as far as on field, Chad Kelly's got to face this Saskatchewan defense that I mentioned leads in takeaway giveaway category at +14. Defense that has played very well both against the run, but for 1 game. It was against Edmonton. But beyond that, this defense has been rock solid all year.
He's up against Trey Ford and all the running. Javon League 2 with the Elks. Great at Mosaic a few weeks ago. Liram Hiralau has mentioned punting for John Haggerty, who was hurt in the warm-up. Mario Alford, another one of the dangerous returners in the Canadian Football League. And Trevor Harris about to come back on. He and the Riders leading it by 3 early. Last week, Trevor Harris came back for the first time since late June when he suffered a knee injury in week 3. And as we talked about earlier, he hardly missed a beat. 31 of 39, 355, and a couple of touchdowns.
Well, and remember, the Riders started the season 4-0, and Trevor Harris has thrown 3 times for over 300 yards in his 4 starts. So, again, like picking up right where he left off. He loves this offense. On the same page with Coach Mueller, and looks good.
Throwing here on first down to Samuel Emelis. A shorter route, picks up about 4 yards. Second down coming up.
Again, nice receiving core to work with Keon Schaefer-Baker. Sam Emelis is their leader. I mean, a guy who 76 targets so far at the halfway point. You know, they'll lean on him. Sean Bean, of course, in the core, and then Schaefer-Baker, who can take a bubble screen, 30 in a heartbeat, but also can blow the top off a defense too.
Pick up a 4. 2nd and 6 at the Rider 45. Harris quickly again, working fast and gets it to Emelis again, and this will be a 3rd and short by the looks of things. Maybe about a foot shy as he gets it up across the 50. We got some big folks coming in now in a short yardage situation, and Shea Patterson as well, who had been in that role, of course, before Harris got hurt, and back in again. And Patterson mentioned he started 6 games, won 2, lost 3, had the tie at TD Place in Ottawa a couple of weeks ago.
Got a bright future, really does. I think he progressed very well as game to game.
That's the silver lining, isn't it? I mean, it's bad to lose a quarterback to injury, but if somebody else can get experience, and he does, he chooses the righty, who's getting tripped up too. So nearly a disaster in that 3rd and short. Patterson gets a sigh of relief there as he does keep his feet and get the first down.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, one of the upsides of when a guy goes down is that you have a backup get some valuable experience, and Shea Patterson did that. I mean, in his last 2 games, Edmonton and Ottawa, threw for 306 yards against the Elks, and against the Red Blacks almost 300, just shy by 1 yard.
Corey Mason talked about that. He hates to see Trevor Harris get injured and out, but they're deeper at quarterback with the experience that Patterson's had. So Frankie Hickson. Oh, Hickson finds a way to keep his feet and keep bursting through. Metier finally takes him down. What a run by Frankie Hickson just to keep his balance after contact and get it down near the 40.
Rod, you mentioned Montreal in that first half that Hickson played against the Alouettes, and that's again another great defense, and he had almost 100 yards in a half of football. So, this is what he's capable of. And asking Trevor Harris about him this week, he said that jump cut he has is like something he's never seen, and he's played with a lot of really good tailbacks.
And a teammate of A.J. Olad who can't play tonight, and the Argos know full well what he's like. A lot of power. Low center of gravity for Hickson, though. Harrison like the way he runs with the football, too. That's Keyshawn Johnson with his first catch of this game, and Johnson has it down inside the 40, a gain of about 5 more yards for the Riders.
Just a steady hand, too, though, when you see Trevor Harris just command the huddle, step up in there. The way he calls plays, he throws a play and is basically getting ready for the next one. I guarantee you there's a lot of guys we talk to that you think will be a coach when they retire. Trevor Harris is going to be a coach when he retires.
He talks like one. When we have the Zoom calls, a little chat with him a couple of days before the game, he's 6 for 7 as you saw. Quickly again, completing it to Myers, who just gets tripped up inside the 15. That's Mark Milton who got him. Otherwise, it was a little bit of daylight there for Myers, who has really had an explosive start to his Rider career.
Well, he has. I mean, you think about the 200-yard games in 2 starts, and he's caught a corner now in a short corner route, and this deep bender that gets right over the middle and threading the needle. Fraser Sopik had a chance at it. Mark Milton had a chance at it.
And with that, the Riders in business. They got it down to the 13 and a 1st and 10. More heat coming. Good protection. End zone look and a touchdown. Saskatchewan Roughriders. Keyshawn Johnson. And what an impressive drive being capped off right there with Harris in the green and white.
This one, you got to give some credit to the protection up front from that Saskatchewan O-line, because they're giving Trevor Harris a time to go through his progressions. He looks left. He reads the field. He's trying to look off any possible safety help on that deep crossing route, and he hits Keyshawn Johnson.
Deadly accurate.
Of the game, yep.
So far, 8 for 9, 98 yards now, and that touchdown pass to Johnson for his second touchdown of the season. So there's Brett Lother on for the point after with Adam Korsak to put it down. Up and through. So Lother is the field goal, and he is the point after that Keyshawn Johnson touchdown. Trevor Harris looking razor sharp, and the Riders have a 10-0 lead at BMO Field in Toronto.
Tremendous accuracy from Trevor Harris on a 7-play drive that goes 69 yards, and Shea Patterson chipping in on that short yardage play. I think that's an inspiring run from Frankie Hickson. That gets the entire team stepping it up a notch, and then a great crossing route to finish it to Keyshawn Johnson. 7 plays, 69 yards over 4 minutes.
Injured in the second half in week 3. All that time away for Trevor Harrison. He's hit the ground running, hasn't he? I mean, the game he had last week against the Alouettes, and then the way this one has started, 8 for 9. So a 10-0 lead Riders. Back to Janarian Grant inside the 10. Waiting for his blocking. Kevin Vitale has to turn it back, and the hair. We talked about this before. Jaden Dalkey gets him by the hair, and that happened before at a game in Hamilton as well.
Well, it's legal.
Yeah.
You know, it's legal, and you know, the only thing I'd wonder about, and this is, you know, it's legal, and the players that have hit the hair hanging out like that, they know it's legal. It's happened before, as you mentioned, and the only thing I would say though is, if it's back there, shouldn't they discuss it as far as a horse collar type tackle? I mean, whether it's from behind.
Argo ball on the toss left. It's Kadeem Carey, and the Riders, Jameer Thurman, their great middle linebacker, coming in to take down an ex-teammate, Kadeem Carey.
And that's not a criticism to the league, because that's the rule and everyone knows it. So you have your hair like that, it's going to happen. This is a great look at middle linebacker Jameer Thurman that's just going to fly to the football, get around the block, scrape to it. Great tackling team.
A couple of former Calgary Stampeders in on that play. So Carey does pick up a few. The third leading rusher in the CFL. Kadeem Carey coming in. Whistle blows with the snap of the ball.
Illegal procedure. Toronto number 62. 5-yard penalty. We'll replay second down.
It's announced by Andre Proulx. That's the left guard, Ryan Hunter, who gets flagged for procedure.
Well, first game back for Chad Kelly, and missing half a season, not practicing with the team, and having the offensive line not hear how he calls the signals. I mean, that voice inflection is different than they've had for half a year.
2nd and 12 with the penalty. Kelly has time off to the left, and it is caught shy of a first down. Coming back to the ball is DeMonte Coxie. He had gone right to about the first down marker and was coming back to it, so they'll spot it about a yard shy, but it is deep in their zone, and looks like the punting unit, yes, Liram Hairelau is coming on. They will punt this football away on the 3rd and short.
Well, we've got 2 great returners in this game. I know you've already mentioned it, but Janarian Grant, we've already talked about. Mario Alford. I mean, this could be the difference makers in these games. These 2 guys.
Well-traveled.
Best in the league.
I was going to say well-traveled too. He actually had forgotten this. Started his career in Toronto. Had 8 games with the Argos before moving on to Montreal, and ultimately Saskatchewan. So, ex-Argo Alford with it inside the 35, and moving around to his right after a punt of 47 yards by Liram Hairelau, who's taking the duties tonight. And with that, it's quarter time, and a good first 15 for the Saskatchewan Roughriders on the grounds of the Canadian National Exhibition, out in full force. And a lot of them coming to watch a football. Toronto Argonauts still, as you can see on offense, a work in progress, but you can't say that about Trevor Harris. No. So my goodness, he's looking sharp tonight.
Yeah, and so is Frankie Hickson. A couple of touches for him, but yeah, he's on. And when you take a look at how he's throwing the football right now, You know, this is Trevor Harris. He's completely back. The injury doesn't seem to be any ill effects from that, and Trevor Harris is on point.
Well, that last possession they had, they moved down the field through a touchdown pass to Keyshawn Johnson. 8 for 9, his numbers through one corner for 98 yards and a touchdown. And this is second start since the injury. Chad Kelly, his first game action since last November in the Eastern Final.
Yeah, and they look a little out of sync.
Yeah, they do. 1st and 10. Riders at their 48. Harris again off to the right. But he wanted Kean Schaefer-Baker, and that one ends up sailing out of bounds.
Well, that one he had people at his legs, so we'll give him that one. But this is a completion percentage in CFL history chart that shows you just how accurate Trevor Harris has been throughout his career, and that's what I mean about him being right back on point, coming off an injury. Usually it takes one game to settle in, another half a game to at least get back to the timing and the rhythm. Not number 7.
Isn't it interesting that both Fajardo and Harris happened to work under a guy named Ricky Ray? All 3 of them on that board. Harris. And that one intended for Myers, and coming over the top is Benji Franklin to make sure that's not caught.
So this is what the Argos are going to have to do, Rod. They're going to have to make these plays. I mean, when you have an accurate passer, you're going to have to come up and make plays and maybe get into that jam spot down in the bottom here and get into that press coverage so that you're not far. You're not giving any room to the receiver. When that in cut happens, you make the break and get your hands on it.
Janarian Grant, 3 punt return touchdowns this season. A kickoff return touchdown as well. 4 return TDs. He had 1 against Saskatchewan back in week 5. They met at Mosaic. Leading the way in punt returning in the Canadian Football League is Janarian Grant, but no chance there as it takes a hop from Adam Korsak and it goes out at about the 28-29 yard line.
That's Roland Milligan shaking off something on the special teams. He's been dynamite on the teams. In fact, leading the league in special teams tackles. But how about what he's done on defense? Just taking the football away, leading the team in defensive tackles, leading the team from the halfback spot, leading the league in special teams tackles. So he's got to cover the kicks and then go play defense, leading in interceptions with 6 and on a record pace for knockdowns in a season.
That's just amazing. What a year he is having so far halfway through it. And you see him, it looked like he was squinting or something's going on with his eye there. Let's have a look at what happened to Roland Milligan.
Well, let's take a look. He got poked in the eye. And he got with the other eye continues to cover the kick.
Still heading down there, and then it was 0-1-0. Tyshawn Blackburn, the rookie for the Argos, who poked Roland Milligan in the eye, still squinting that right eye now. 2nd and 11 after that loss of 1. Kelly got heat on him. He rolls out to his right, and he does get away. And nearly completes it, but it was a high toss for Mackay Polk, who had to reach up for it, and awfully very vulnerable to take that hit from DeMarcus Fields coming right in on him, and Polk is still down.
Yeah, you saw this one coming. Kelly on the full roll, kind of throwing back against the grain, and you saw this one coming with Fields just sitting outside waiting to time this up, and as Polk had to go up and try and bring that one down, climb the ladder, he gets cut down.
One thing for receivers, when they have to reach up like that and they know someone's bearing down, pretty tough thing to catch a football, and Polk not able to hang on and really pays the price. Field coming in, and good to see him up and jogging off to the Argo sideline.
Everybody, including the guys who hit him, DeMarcus Fields and CJ Rivas, happy that he got up and looks like he'll be okay. Weird game that way in a lot of ways, Rod. You want to hit him as hard as you possibly can, make sure he feels it, and yet hope he doesn't get hurt.
How many times in an old veteran safety's career would you see someone coming over the middle and reaching high? Natural instincts, 27,
hit
right?
him as hard as you possibly can, so they feel it as much as you possibly can, but you don't want anyone hurt.
Right. That's the way the game is played. The punt by Haralahu. And that is taken by Mario Alford after a punt of 45 yards. And Alford just heading out at the Argo sideline. Back comes Trevor Harris. Saskatchewan leading in second quarter. 10-0 in Toronto. Back here at BMO, he is a man of many talents. Milton Eugene Stiegel, leading the Argos cheer team.
Well, how many times did he watch the routine before he got it down? Because he looked like he was in sync with the rest of them. Well, maybe a half step behind, but you know. Speaking of half step behind, I think Stiegel ran some 40s early in the.
He did. Well, we saw that in the pregame. Chatting with Chesney there. And
yeah, we'll hold off on that for now.
Are you suggesting 85's lost a step or two? Frankie Hickson, he hasn't lost a step.
No, he hasn't.
Holy smokes, he's running well so far in this one. Looks like it'll be close to a first down for the Riders on that.
We get a real good example of his jump cuts here. This is a couple of them, I believe. He's gonna take this real simple play, simple handoff right through the A or B. It's actually up to Frankie Hickson. He picks it. That was the jump cut, the first one, picking which gap he wanted to hit. He ended up sliding back to weak side A gap between the center and guard on the weak side of the formation.
Frankie Hickson in his third year at a Liberty. He's had chances in the past after the feature running back gets hurt. Used to be Jamal Morrow and now A.J. Ouellette. And Hickson that time is going nowhere, and that was on a second down and just inches. The third down coming up. They still have about 6 inches to go.
It was Sopik that stepped up and read the play. Unblocked. Right at the point of attack. I mean, a couple pulling receivers, one being Emelis, who went by Sopik. So yeah, third and still a couple of inches.
Well, look at that. Natural grass surface. Great shot. Fraser Sopik's helmet. Dirt in there with a massive third down. Shea Patterson again. This time he veers left. And he does have enough in that short yardage situation to pick up the first down closer to midfield.
Well, it's the second time that he's not just gone forward, especially in short yardage where you only need a few inches. I mean, he is a couple of times now gone along the line of scrimmage, got away with it even though he stumbled on the first one. That one, clearly he got the first down, but that's a little risky sometimes in short yardage unless you're 1.5 yards away.
A couple of weeks ago, Darius Pickett fired in. Short and got him.
Catch him in the backfield.
First and 10, though. Up near midfield. Trevor Harris with time. Deeper, and it's caught too. It's a Joe with Deshaun Amos there. And first catch for the rookie, a Joe. And a big first down for the Riders.
Yeah, blitz coming against Trevor Harris here. It's going to come off the edge, and Harris realizes that he can't block them all, so he's got to get it out of there. He's got a corner route for a Joe. Who's back in the lineup. Missed last week, was down due to a finger injury. And how about dropping that in the bucket?
He certainly did. It was Trevor Harris that threw Joe's first touchdown catch. That was back in week 3 before Harris got hurt. And all smiles back at the bench. A first and 10 at the Argo 34. Little toss inside on that sweep for Emelis, and coming up nicely is Mark Milton to take him down at the 35. Looks like it might even be a loss of a couple of feet for the Riders.
Deep block for Frankie Hickson, who's going to get out there and miss on the first. I think it was Amos he was trying to get to, or Metier. Trying to scrape and get involved in the run support from the defensive backfield.
Mark Mueller, the offensive coordinator for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, coming over from the Calgary Stampeders, returning home as the OC under Corey Mace this year, 2nd and 11 now. And a lot of heat on Harris, who tried to dump it off. It just falls incomplete. And a 3rd down and 11 is coming up here for Saskatchewan.
Ralph Hawley that gets there this time. He's gonna line up outside the tackle and then work on the guard. Logan Ferland, just a straight bull rush right into Trevor Harris.
1 for 1 from 43 is Brett Lothar. Second attempt also from 43 yards away. And Lothar, so far, really atoning nicely after what happened last week at Mosaic. 3 more on the board. The Riders increased their lead to 13-0. 16-2 season, and just look at where his defense ranks, first in a lot of categories. Let's go down to Matthew.
You know, Rob, last time I saw Corey Mace at BMO Field was after that East final loss to the Montreal Alouettes, and he was extremely disappointed because he knew, as you said, how historic that defense was in that 16-2 season. Talking to him today, he said he's happy to be back. It's like home. You leave a legacy when a team wins a Grey Cup, and then is as historic as that team was, and then the leadership legacy he's left with players like Wint McManus. He said, I can't imagine anything better, but obviously a close connection to Ryan Dinwiddie, and on that 3rd and 2 to start the game, when Mason and the Roughriders made it, he was playfully jousting with Ryan Dinwiddie.
Nice playful rivalry between those two friends and rival head coaches Matthew and David Unger for Ryan Dinwiddie's Argos has the catch and the first down Toronto.
Well, he's taken his defensive strategy and his approach, and he's applied it to the Saskatchewan Roughriders defense, a defense that leads in sacks with 26. Ryan Dinwiddie holding court with the 2 coaches from the Riders.
I was going to say, that's not just a Toronto connection, that's a Calgary connection right there.
Absolutely. But, you know, his defense now leads the team leads the league in interceptions as well.
Play action fake, and the Riders were really biting on that run. It gave Chad Kelly a ton of time to wait, and a short pass there to Kateen Carey on first down.
Chad Kelly, and that's the great thing about the game of football is the chess match that it becomes, and trying to figure out what the next move is. And it looks like the Argos got a little bit of offense going, and Roland Milligan is the guy that can turn that around in a hurry.
Milligan, who had 2 interceptions against the Argos, 2 of his 6 came against Toronto. He's back 7 weeks ago. It's Nelson Lacombo, the safety, to 2nd and 6. Kelly again has lots of time, runs out of it though, and under pressure gets rid of it, and it's off the fingertips of DeMonte Coxey. Good coverage there by the field side corner, Marcus Sales.
Yeah, the protection was there. He had lots of time, Chad Kelly, to stand back there and scan the field. He went through his progressions, went all the way to the backside, and finally thought he had the out, but a real nice play by Marcus Sales, cutting underneath and getting his hand on that ball.
And with that, Corey Mason's defense stands strong. It's Chad Kelly and the Argos. So Liram Hairolau will be out to punt for the 5th time in this first half. We're halfway through the 2nd quarter. The Argos send the ball the Riders' way, trailing by 13 points. Mario Alford is back for this one. So too is Sean Bain. It heads Alford's way from here. Hairolau, and
where's this one, Mark?
Well, if it's outside the 15, it's not quite. It's at the 14, so no penalty against Hairolau after only a 32-yard punt, but trying to pin them in deep. What do you think? Would you do that?
Shot.
I'm too old for Mitchell. Well, he had been benched, but Taylor Powell injured last week against Edmonton, so Bo is back as the starting QB. And that starting QB, Trevor Harris, got a good start in this one. It's a 13-0 game as he hands off to Frankie Hickson, who picks up a yard, maybe 2.
This Toronto defense, though, can be very physical in the front 7. I mean, yes, Wint McManus is not in the lineup, so John Jones is playing for him, but has filled in nicely when he's ever had the opportunity. Royce Metier comes down and will play the run. He's put Trevor Harris now in a couple of, in the last 2 series, in 2nd and long situations.
2nd and long now. Nate from their 16. And with the heat coming, gets rid of it. It's intercepted. Deshaun Amos taking off for the end zone, and Emelis just gets him out of bounds before he can score. He already hit a pick 6 last game 2 weeks ago against the Calgary Stampeders here, and Amos nearly has another pick 6, but as it stands, he has set up the Argos nicely.
Bit of pressure in his face. He's getting hit just as he throws, and Harris first throw he wants back of the night, and it's Amos taking it the other way. That's, as you mentioned, number 4 on the season. There's the intended target inside. Amos, look at that back pedal, little turn with the hips, and then cuts right underneath Keyshawn Johnson. Did he get in? Did the ball cross the plane? They're saying no, it's on the 1, and he steps out right there.
Right there. So they're set up at the 1, though. First and goal. Cameron Dukes in at quarterback, keeps it himself. And it's a touchdown, Argonauts. Set up nicely by Deshaun Amos and scored by Cameron Dukes, who started most of the way this season with the Kelly suspension. And the Argos getting on the board with the help of their defense.
Yeah, well, that's where they're getting it. I mean, they're getting the play from Ralph Hawley, Jake Serezna in the middle, and Arimolade, who got the pressure on Trevor Harris, had someone in his face. He's not accurate on the throw, and Deshaun Amos takes it back to the 1-yard line. I mean, got a couple of knockdowns in the last series, get off the field, and this time it's a pick.
Deshaun Amos in his 6th season in the CFL out of East Carolina, started with the Calgary Stampeders, and as you mentioned, Glenn, his 4th interception of the season, nearly his 2nd interception for a touchdown. He was that close. So Dukes gets it, and Hiralahu with the point after. And what had been all Saskatchewan in this game sees Toronto cut into the lead and make it a 13-7 Rider lead.
Get Rider fans having flashbacks of last week and barely stepping out of bounds, playing against a team where the opposition has the ball in their hands, and does he step out of bounds or not? Doesn't matter. They're down to the 1-yard line, and Cameron Dukes finishes it off. But you're right, Rod. It was almost his 2nd pick 6. This was against the Calgary Stampeders, and a little inside cut, and away he goes. 55-yarder to the house for Deshaun Amos. I mentioned that physical front 7 that can create turnovers for the back end like that. Taking nothing away from the great play by Amos, but pressure breaks pipes.
Sure does. His 4th interception, the 4th one thrown this season by Trevor Harris. And make it a closer game. Mario Alford back now. Thomas Bertrand-Houdon for the Riders. 2nd meeting this season between these two. The Argos starting the 2nd half of their season. The Riders hit that point last week's game against the Alouettes, coming in at 5-4-1. There's Alford on the return, and he's taken down. Ryan Dinwiddie with great success on home field. You have a look at that. 13 of the last 14. The 1 loss coming earlier this season against the Alouettes, and 9 straight against the West Division as well. Impressive run for Ryan Dinwiddie, and now his 4th season as head coach. Against
a very desperate team to get another win. They have a tie in the last 4, but the Riders have lost 3 of the last 4, and in some real strange ways. I think of the double overtime in Ottawa, and the game with the missed field goals last week.
Bouncing off a tackle is Frankie Hickson. They had another one earlier on. They came into Montreal a few weeks ago at 5-1, and they led 16-3 at the half. Caleb Evans got the start for Montreal. They made that switch to Alexander, and just everything seemed to change. The Alouettes barely won that game, but they did manage to. So you're right. The Riders have had some close finishes.
Yeah, they just want to try and get back in the win column, but it's going to be tough, as we showed you, to win here. Whether it's Chad Kelly back or whatever the influence and the slow start for their offense, their defense is high-quality defense, good pressure up front. They can get pressure with just 4. They're going to surrender.
Trevor Harris, that offense, they had a good start. They've stalled the last 2 drives, though, with a 2-and-out and then that interception that led to the Argo touchdown. Sean Bain with the catch, but a 3rd down coming up, and a good 2 yards shy as the punting unit will head on.
And just 4-man pressure, but it did push the pocket, forced Trevor to kind of throw as he was backing up. He did get the completion, but Sean Bain short of the first down. And that's success on first down for the last 3 or 4 series now for the Argo defense is the difference.
Tide turning a little bit in this game in favor of the home side, still trailing by 6, but Adam Korsak is on. He'll be punting for the second time in this game. Janarian Grant standing just inside the 30.
At any moment, record pace for Janarian Grant in the touchdown department.
He has 4 so far this season. He had 8 with Winnipeg. Korsak cautiously heading over a beautiful punt. Doesn't give Grant many options at all as he gets it out around the 33.
Yeah, great kick. Let's go back and show you just an outstanding performance. 78 defensive plays is second in the CFL at this point. And, you know, we often will say that at this point in the season for linebackers, because linebackers are involved in both the pass defense, the run defense, closer to the line of scrimmage. Very, very seldom you talk about a pure DB, halfback, with those kind of numbers at this point in the year. But his instincts, talk to his teammates, talk to his head coach about Roland Milligan and how much they respect his work ethic. Doesn't say a whole lot, but when he does, the rest of the team listens.
He was limited to only 5 games last year. His season ended early. Kelly, the player in his face, he gets rid of it. He completes it too. He drops it in there for Mackay Polk, and a big first down late here in the second quarter. They're in Rider territory.
Mackay Polk had to really work hard against Nelson Lacombo, the safety. They're going to get matched up. You see 21 to the right of your screen. He's just going to go off and he gets matched up as they break off the line of scrimmage. He did get in behind him, but he really had to work for it and then keep his concentration, keep that foot in bounds, and he little tippy toe on the sideline. Nice catch.
In at 29 yards, biggest completion for Kelly is on that hitch. Gets it to Coxie, and he works his way around Lake Corte Moore, and DeMonte Coxie gets it inside the 40, and another first down by the looks of things for the Argos with the 3.
Rod, Glenn, the panel's coming up at halftime, and I don't know if you caught Milt Stiegel's dance performance with the Argos cheerleaders. It was amazing, to be quite honest. Now he's starving, though, and he can only find some Tiny Tom donuts at the X, and he's promised us he's going to eat them. Eat that, Stiegel.
Do it.
You said you'd do it. It's for the kids.
Did he actually? Oh, my goodness.
No.
Milt Stiegel ate a donut.
Oh,
there's your headliner tonight.
Yep.
At the X. Yeah, lots of donuts, lots of deep fried food for number 2. Partaking on that hit screen. David Unger, and turning it up inside. That was on a first down play, too, as they work it down a little bit closer now. Trying to a chance at taking the lead late here in the first half.
A couple of hit screens, couple bubble screens for Chad Kelly to try to pull the defense closer. We saw Toronto's defense move into more press coverage to try and take away the space of the Saskatchewan receivers. Now we're seeing the Argos offense trying to pull those DBs closer for the double moves.
Another first down. It's down to the 25. Argos threatening Kelly. Off to the left. A flag comes out. That was intended for Deontay McMahon with Roland Milligan on the coverage and kind of waving his hands like, what's that flag all about?
It looked like to me
Defensive pass interference, Saskatchewan number 0. This will be a 10-yard penalty, an automatic first down.
can't believe it's happening to this guy, because he's been as close to perfect as you can be, and I'm not even sure I like the word perfect. I think it's kind of like unicorn, not really real, but there is early contact there from Milligan.
So not challenged, first and 10. Oh, he's coming, and down goes Kelly. He is sacked for the first time in this game on that first down play, taken down right at the line of scrimmage.
Yes, CJ Rivas on the outside. Avery is back in the lineup, not starting this game, but in the rotation. But it's Rivas that comes off the edge. He's going to be up at the top of your screen, and he comes from depth, so he doesn't get caught in the count from the offensive line. They're not looking to try and step out to him because he came from off the line of scrimmage.
Deontay McMahon in at running back, second down. Kelly More pressure coming. He escapes. He takes off inside the 10 and down around the 5-yard line, just inside. Would be enough for a first down.
Well, he can do it. We saw him do it last year. He doesn't mind taking off and running. He can take the hits downfield, and no hook slide here. He knew where he was to try and get to that first down mark. He had to get up right around the 5-yard line, so he's going to have to take on those hits, and that's Jameer Thurman coming from the middle linebacker spot. It's funny how instinctually, defensively, you still look at that pump fake even when they're beyond the line of scrimmage.
He had just enough to move the sticks again. First and goal, just inside the 5. Deontay McMahon picks up a couple of yards, tries to lunge that ball down to around the 1. Second down coming up here. Second and goal, Argos with a chance to tie and take the lead.
Well, their defense, you know, in this second quarter, certainly the second half of the second quarter, has really stepped it up. I mean, Deshaun Amos with his interception, getting Trevor Harris off the field, who got off to such a great start. That's given Kelly some more opportunities.
The second and goal at the 2. We saw Cameron Dukes in this situation last time out. Kelly stays in at a shotgun now on this second down play. Handing off again. Kadeem Carey. Touchdown Argos. Another rushing touchdown for the double blue. They work it down, and Kadeem Carey celebrates reaching the end zone yet again as there a point after try from taking the lead on the 5th rushing touchdown for Kadeem Carey this season.
You know, I don't know about shotgun when you're on the 2-yard line. You're taking the ball off the line of scrimmage.
Under review by the command center.
See if he crossed the plane before he was down by contact. Now the command center has sent out a memo to the media discussing how they are going to use the command center in reviews just like this, but to make sure that it has to be a clear and obvious mistake by the officials.
Well, it doesn't look like the knees were down. It was more a matter of the elbow.
No.
I was looking more at the elbow.
I think the elbow might have been down.
And had the ball broken the plane. So an announcement coming up. Command center had a look.
Upon automatic review, the ball carrier was down with contact at the 1-yard line. The ball will be placed on the 1-yard line. Third.
Yeah, I'm with you, Rod. I think it was the elbow that touched down as he went down. Take one more look at it if you're wondering, but elbow down there. Stop it now. See, there's the elbow, and the ball has not crossed the plane. So they had the replay, a direct look at it.
So now Cameron Dukes is in. Left side now. Oh, this is close. Did he break the plane? They say no. Could this be a turnover on downs for Saskatchewan? Under a minute to go until halftime, and what a break this would be for the Riders, and what a big play on defense.
Got to move it back to your yard off the goal line, and Cameron Dukes is trying to find a hole rather than just hit it hard. And C.J. Rivas, that's back-to-back plays really for him. I mean, a couple in between there, but on this series, and Ryan Dinwiddie cannot believe it.
They got close. They got within a yard, and C.J. Rivas comes up and he stops Cameron Dukes. And that preserves the Rider lead at 6 now with under a minute. 50 seconds to go in the clock until halftime.
Now based on a couple of command center discussions and consternation back in Saskatchewan, I think they'll look at that and say, okay, they got one. Yeah, they got one.
They got it right. Harris throwing out of his end zone. Oh, and intercepted! Picked off again!
Wow.
So, Benji Franklin, well, he just takes it in. He was down, but 44 seconds left, and thanks to the Argo defense, they may not be done scoring in this first half.
No question. I mean, this is just straight. Again, you're looking at press coverage down at the bottom. This is the change that the Argos have made here. And they're going to roll off and basically look like they're playing cover 2 with some deep help in behind, so you can play aggressively underneath. And Franklin just wins the jump ball. He elevates to go get that one.
He did. Trevor Harris completed 8 of his first 9 for a touchdown. He has thrown 2 picks in his last 3 passes. So with that sharp start we talked about in the first quarter, it's unraveled a bit here in quarter number 2 as the Argos are set up at the Rider 24 now. We'll try again. Chad Kelly. The toss to the end zone, down close, but no, it is coughed up. Fields is right there in coverage on Tavares Daniels. Looked for a moment like he would be hanging on to that football, but no, it's incomplete.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he had it initially, and Fields going to rip it out. He's not going to quit on the play on this dig route. Look, he did have it. He had control of the ball there, and then it was ripped out. Now, it wasn't controlled long enough to constitute a fumble, but nice defensive play over the middle.
40 seconds now on the clock, and a 2nd and 10. The Argos that close to getting it down and goal to go again. Still a chance for more points on the board, but not on this play. Whistle dead again on the movement.
Legal procedure. Toronto, number 59, 5-yard penalty. It remains 2nd down.
That time the veteran right tackle, Dejon Allen. And the 3rd procedure call tonight, Argos.
$15 yards to go, but still in field goal range. And Ryan Dinwiddie wants to manage this correctly. Make sure he doesn't lose that opportunity at the very least.
Big defensive plays by C.J. Rivas we've seen. Just a 3-man rush. Kelly has time. He's chucking it to the end zone. Double coverage is there. Touchdown. DeMonte Coxey has it. Riders had it covered. But Coxey, and a great catch, comes down with the ball and points off turnovers again for the Argos. Now a point away from taking the lead.
Yeah, Chad Kelly just throws this up. He sees coverage down the field. There's no way he couldn't have seen that Coxey was well covered. I mean, Deontay Williams was right there. He also had help over the top. I believe it was Jaden Zelke.
And on a scoring play, you heard Andre Proulx saying it's under.
Well, they always
review.
are. Yeah, they always are. Automatic. It's not a coach's challenge. This is automatic, and they're not looking to see if they could call a penalty. They are actually looking to see if he had control inbounds, and it was a touchdown and survived contact with the turf.
And from that angle anyway, you can't see anything different than a catch. For DeMonte Coxey. First year at a Mississippi State, or 2nd year, excuse me, and what looks like his 3rd touchdown of this season.
What a catch.
Looked like it from the angles we saw, but Command Center has reviewed. We're going to ask that question again. Is it an Argo touchdown?
Upon automatic review by the Command Center, the pass was incomplete.
There you go.
Well, that first angle certainly looked like he had control when he hit the turf. So let's take a look, because clearly they have one that they see he doesn't. There you go.
There it is.
There you go.
There it is. A great look and a good call by the Command Center. That is not a touchdown.
Nope. No, that looked from the opposite side. I thought he had it on his chest, and it didn't. The replay didn't show any evidence that he lost control, but that second angle certainly did. The Command Center gets them all automatically, whether we have it or not. But well, you could see that ball came out as he hit the turf. Deontay Williams knew.
And Ryan Dinwiddie is
challenging the previous play for defensive pass interference. The play will be reviewed.
As Coxey fires up the crowd that don't like the call, but yeah, that fresh angle we saw that the Command Center based its decision on shows that ball coming out. Another look.
Now the challenge is regarding a penalty for defensive pass interference with Williams. I was going to say, that upon the review, the automatic review as to whether or not it's a touchdown, they're not looking, or will they call pass interference one way or another. That has to be challenged, and it was challenged by Dinwiddie after the overturn of the catch. But I was wondering about offensive pass interference at first. It looked like Coxie might have a little bit of a push off. So, you know.
So again, a call not challenging the catch or the drop, challenging for interference, and here's the decision.
After review by the command center, the ruling on the field stands. There was no pass interference. Toronto is charged a timeout.
Oh, it was a heck of an effort by Coxie to go up and have an opportunity at that one and double coverage. But that ball did come out.
So from 36 now, Lirim Hajrullahu, first field goal try for him as it sails on through. So they do get points off the turnover, just not the touchdown that they thought they had. 27 seconds on the clock, and they cut into the Rider lead. It's now a 13-10 Saskatchewan game. Great to have the panel on site, isn't it? Kate, Milt, Matty, and Jim. And Milt, he's had a busy half because he's running 40s before the game. He's helping the cheerleaders out, and he's eating donuts.
Well, and asking, like looking right in the camera in the pregame show and asking teams to give him a call for a contract. And, you know, based on his 40 time, I would say, you know, he might be able to help someone in the offensive line.
Okay.
You saw the 40 time, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. You know what? He'll always be faster than me. I don't know if he'll take any consolation from that. There's Frankie Hickson. Yeah, I was going to say he may want to hit the donuts a little harder. He's going to be an O-lineman now.
Yeah, he might have to go to the gym, but I'm just saying, just time alone. Great to have the panel out, and Trevor Reed a little slow to get up there. Yeah, they're going to have to go back to the drawing board and go back and look at that first quarter of the Riders offensively and you know, see what was working.
Penalty, Saskatchewan number 61. 10-yard penalty, second down.
Well, that hurts in a couple of ways. I mean, Trevor Reed was hurt, but takes a misconduct foul on that as well.
Right at the top of your screen, number 61. Push right up here, push there, and then he goes down as he got pushed from behind.
It's Fraser Soping. Remember these misconduct fouls. If a player gets two, they're out of the game. We've seen that happen a couple of times. So that's one for Reed late in the half. And 18 seconds, and it's Frankie Hickson. Pretty productive first half, especially earlier on for Hickson. It's 9 carries, 45 yards. Mentioning the halfway point of the season, first half of the season, Chad Kelly suspended, so this is his first game of the season tonight. The Riders made the turn last week with their dramatic loss to the Alouettes. They're 5-4-1. They were 5-1 at one point. They haven't won in 4 games, and the Argos alternating wins and losses come in at 5-4. They officially start the second half of the season, and we'll be waiting for the second half of this game because the Riders and Trevor Harris take a knee. Thankful the way that second quarter went that they are still leading this game by a field goal.
Really good first quarter for Trevor Harris. Not so good for Chad Kelly, but Chad Kelly got some drives going in the second, and Harris had some issues.
Yeah.
If you had to have one great aspect of your team, pick pressure over coverage.
Make them get rid of it fast.
Exactly.
Force a mistake. And Harris has thrown a couple of picks. Hajrullahu to kick it off. Saskatchewan gets the ball to start the second half. Mario Alford with it, taking it at the 15. 3-point lead, Riders to start the second half. Here we go. And he's finally knocked down, but after a good return up across the 40, but the 43 for Mario Alford. Look at Trevor Harris and what he did in the first half.
Yeah, it came out red hot. I mean, he started 3 for 3, hit a nice corner route to Myers and a couple of deep balls. There was the corner route cut right out of the gate. finished with a field goal, then put a drive together for a major that went 7 plays and 69 yards. He was 4 for 5 on that drive for 41 yards passing, a couple runs by Hickson as well. And then the second quarter, that Argo defense stepped up.
And he threw a couple of interceptions. Look at the difference. 8 for 9 start, and the difference in, but 2 interceptions and 3 passes. So short one there to Kean Schaefer-Baker, and coming in is Royce Metier, the veteran Argo safety, to make that play and force a second and long now for Saskatchewan.
It's an important catch for Kean Schaefer-Baker. He only had a couple of targets. He needs to get his hands on the ball, get back into the swing of things, and he can be a real weapon.
Suffered a shoulder injury back over a month ago. He missed 4 games, his first game back. And with that, targeted 3 times, 2 catches and 11 yards for Schaefer-Baker. To University at Guelph, just down the road with the Argos training camp. Deep block. Oh, nearly intercepted again. Robert Priester, they had him covered. Amos was there, and Priester was there on Kean Schaefer-Baker.
Yeah, it was really a bracket coverage on 89. I mean, he's going straight down the seam, nothing real fancy about it. And there's Amos coming over from the outside in, and Priester inside in a trail position. They had the best shot at it, so almost a 3rd pick. Really should have been. You look at the coverage all over Schaefer-Baker.
Robert Priester had a shot at that one, which would have been the 3rd pick thrown by Harris. So as it stands, they will punt it away, and Adam Korsak, his 2nd year as the Rider punter, and another beautiful punt. This gives no chance at all to Janarian Grant. That's how you limit the damage by number 3. Make punts like that, 54-yarder right out of bounds. Yeah, well, Adam Korsak has done a couple of those, and we've seen that a couple of those in the first half, and that's how you do keep it away from Janarian Grant. Or if he gets it, he is caught inside the sideline, inside the numbers in the sideline. That really helps the cover team, because it shortens the area. He catches it in the middle field. He can go either way with all that great speed. So good directional punting can really help your cover team. One of several Australian punters in the Canadian Football League. John Haggerty's another one. 2nd in the CFL in punting and very accurate, but he got hurt in the pregame warm-up, and so it's Liram Hairala, who is also an experienced punter. He is their kicker, but he is doing both in this night tonight. In the Toronto 12, Chad Kelly hands off. Argos start the second half in a 3-point hole. It made it a lot more interesting thanks to the defense setting up that offense for a chance at some points. Yeah, but I thought in the second quarter, Chad Kelly started to play a little bit more relaxed. You know, I would agree with Milt, and at halftime, I believe it was Milt who said that he looked a little nervous out of the gate. Not surprised. He knows all eyes were on him for a lot of reasons, and it's a little shaky in the first quarter, but took off and ran one time. I think taking those hits will help too. Kadeem Carey picked up 3, 2nd and 7. Quickly, Kelly to the right and caught it. A first down, 2. A quick hitter there to Richie Sindani. You know, you look at the work that Cameron Dukes and Nick Arbuckle did in relief of Chad Kelly, and I said again, a real admirable job for them to be 5-4 without their starting quarterback that led the team to 15 wins last year. But they weren't real good at the deep ball. I mean, they weren't real good at the big plays down the field. We're talking 5 in 9 games. And that type of pass is what defined Kelly last year in their successful season. Swinging it out and greeted immediately as Devaris Daniels. That's DeMarcus Fields, who timed that one up perfectly. They had some success, the Argos, in the first half of this game on these bubble screens. Ungerer had a couple big runs, and you know that the Rider defense went back, looked at the tablet at halftime, went, okay, how do we stop that? Close on those. Unless they run a double move, and you're going to have help over the top anyway, you got to close quickly. Don't let them get started. It's a loss of 2. And that pass to Daniels. Rider defense sending some pressure on Kelly. He's been sacked once in this game, and that's the second time. You were talking about pressure for a defense, and that's what the Riders choose, and it works out well. C.J. Rivas has had a good game, in on the act with all that heat for the Riders. Well, one guy, Rod, that's having a great year is Micah Johnson. And Micah Johnson at 35 years old, taking the double team here, pushing at the double team, closing off any escape lane, and helping out with C.J. Rivas. He took 2 guys in the offensive line, ate up all those blocks, didn't allow Chad Kelly to escape,
And then his teammate, C.J. Rivas, got there.
Oh, Micah Johnson for an interior lineman, too. You're right. He 1 year with Calgary had 14 sacks. A lot by a tackle. A lot by anybody. And helped out with that one, too. 45-yard punt. There's Mario Alford. Finds the edge. And he gets across midfield. Good return by Alford. Once again, for the second time in this game, the Rider defense bringing the heat. Get to Chad Kelly. Micah Johnson, C.J. Rivas. Kelly goes down. 3-point the half. The Argos honoring that man on the right. That's Keith Pelly, the head of MLSE on the left, congratulating Danny Webb, 40 years as the equipment manager for the Toronto Argonauts. Going back to the mid-'80s, and you see the T-shirts that they're wearing honoring Danny Webb, who's really just seen so much of the CFL over the years.
Great to pay homage for those guys because they are the glue guys in the locker room. And they also help set the tone. You know, whether it be their toughness after a loss, you know, a shoulder or an ear to listen to, you know, some ranting at times. Their job and the logistics of it is hard enough, but boy, sports psychologists should be beside their title too.
A number of them. That's Frankie Ixon, the carry, but he goes back and said 1985 and worked with some of the legends, of course, the game. Doug Flutie was with the Argos back in 96, 97, won a couple of Grey Cups there, and a younger Danny Webb. But we were talking before about some of the legendary equipment managers, George Hopkins in Calgary, Dwayne Mandrusiak for so long, and in Saskatchewan as well.
Norm Fong for years and years before I got there and through that, and then well after I left.
Harris flushed out of the pocket, decides to take off, and he does have a good run. Trevor Harris, don't see him run off, and remember, coming off a knee injury as well as he gets it inside the Argo 40.
Got the brace on and chose not to hook slide like legs first and put his knee out there in front of this hit, so he rolls down and turns down. So yeah, but just again, congratulations to Danny Webb, and I know Matt Dunnigan down here in the panel has worked with him and knows just how important those guys are. There they are, hanging out. And
yeah,
Matty needed an extra large just for the arms.
Yes, he did. Wearing that T-shirt, and Matty talked a lot about the different equipment managers that he's worked with over the years in his career, mentioning George Hopkins and of course Wayne Mandrusiak at the start of his career in Edmonton. Legendary career he had.
Well, they really do. They set the tone. They're the glue guys. You know, when the team is losing and struggling and having issues, they can help unite and bring the guys together. You know, they're working long hours too, especially after road trips and things like that.
I remember Grey Cup 2022 at Mosaic in Regina when it was Argos Bombers and Danny Webb up late. I remember having to be talking about him going over footwear. The ideal footwear for the conditions you'd have in late November. Four-man rush quickly by Harris.
By the way, and I'll wrap it up here, but I still think Dwayne Mandrusiak cheated when it came to Gizmo Williams cutting that lawn and the shoes that they could find for him to wear.
That sounded like a bitter memory for you in that rivalry with Edmonton.
Okay, I'll let it go. I'll try to let it go.
Sure you will. Absolutely. They can make all the difference they have, and remarkable to see in this league. By the way, Trevor Harris, you saw him earlier in a congratulation for Danny Webb. Of course, Harris started his career 2012 through 15 with the Argos. Knew Danny Webb well. But off the field now, and a field goal try coming up as that drive stalls, and Brett Lother having a better night tonight, 2 for 2. This one, the 40-yard attempt, and this one starts heading left, but he tucks it in that left upright. So Lother gets another one. 3 for 3 in the night and 3 big points as he heads off Saskatchewan, and a 6-point lead now. Third field in Toronto to start week 12, and it's a close one here. Chad Kelly and the Argos back on. They closed the gap late in the half. It's now a 16-10 lead. 3 on the board more for Saskatchewan. So on that sweep, it's Denarian Grant, cuts the corner, tries to stay in bounds, but a good pickup in a rare offensive play for their special team star, Denarian Grant.
Yeah, get him in there, mix him up a little bit, get the ball in his hands. We've been talking about the great directional kicking by Saskatchewan that has limited the return possibilities for Denarian Grant. So Ryan Dinwiddie saying, hey, let's hand him the ball.
Look, could you see
Good.
Matthew?
Hey. Matthew Shinetti can backpedal.
Boy, he's quick on his feet. Saw Milt earlier. Guys showing some hustle down on the field. 2nd and 4.
Maybe Matthew should race Milt.
There you go. Made for TV event, isn't it? With time, Kelly off to the right for the first down and gets it. That's Kadeem Carey. Has the catch, gets it across midfield. That is easily enough to move the sticks for the Argonauts.
Yeah, that extra time for Kelly allowed the routes to develop, and he needed to wait a few extra seconds for those underneath routes to open up, because the longer you hold it, the deeper the linebackers get and the secondary, and then you're open underneath like that to Kadeem Carey.
So a reception for Carey that time, the CFL's 3rd leading rusher, and back on the ground he adds to his rushing totals. His back-to-back touches this time with a carry for Kadeem, and inside the Rider 50 on that one, picks up about 5-6 yards.
You know, when you look at a stat line like tackles for losses or fumble recoveries, and then overall tackles, and that's one where Jameer Thurman is a leader, you just start to say, what does that mean exactly? What it means for defenders is that they're around the ball all the time.
Handing off to Carey again on a 2nd down and 4. And he gets it inside the 45 and very close to, looks like, another first down.
Fill that gap, look at it again, fill another gap. That's number 6 right there. Now Kadeem Carey is going to duck this tackle, but watch Jameer Thurman slide towards, press the line of scrimmage, scrape off that block, and get right in the hole. Kadeem Carey sees 6 and goes, whoa, get underneath that, and gets a couple extra on the dive.
At one point, the Argos had fallen behind in the first half by 13 points. They got the next 10. And now it's a 16-10 game, but Toronto starting to threaten again. And it is Carey again, getting it down to the Saskatchewan 40. He gets a break.
Well, those underneath routes and bubble screens work way better on 2nd and 5 than they do on 2nd and 10. My Captain Obvious.
They got a little more than 5, 2nd and 6 coming up, but to your point, a little bit easier to execute now on the 2nd down, but they're chasing Kelly. Flushed out to the right. Brian Cox the closest. He gets rid of it. It's caught. DeMonte Coxie has it. And they make something out of that. And a big first down for Toronto. A pickup of 30 yards.
Well, this is a great play by both quarterback and receiver, because Coxie's going to keep working with his routes, and Chad Kelly's going to escape here. He finally gets outside and contain. We've seen him do this. We saw him do it a ton last year, and then Coxie gets that left foot inbounds. You only need one. And boom, right there.
Beautiful work on the sideline for DeMonte Coxie, who appeared to have a touchdown, or so we thought, in the first half, only to get a different angle and see that that ball had been dropped. So down at the 10, it's a 1st and goal. Quickly down near the 1-yard line. A quick one coming in is Coxie. It'll be a 2nd and goal coming up as the Argos are close to that Rider end zone again.
Kelly wants to see if he's got a one-on-one on the backside. He tried to get Milligan to move closer to the middle on that play.
And they go tempo. They hand off to Carey, and the Riders, they stiffen up. Looks like a little loss. Brian Cox in there. Jameer Thurman as well. That Rider defense.
The last time in this situation, Toronto went with a shotgun formation, and they were a couple yards from the goal line. Looked like Kadeem Carey had scored. He didn't. His elbow went down on the 1.
Excuse me, Deontay McMahon, 24, not 25. My bad.
Right on the last, but on the last time they were down there, it was Carey.
And didn't work out. End zone lob, nearly intercepted. My goodness, Deontay Williams could have snuffed that one out with a pick, and he knows it. That close in the end zone.
Yeah, there's no way that 4 receivers should be that close together there.
Argos were pressing. But it's not a turnover by pick, a turnover of downs anyway.
Chad Kelly on that play down at the goal line. This is a screen to Kadeem Carey. The receivers are set to block. Kadeem Carey's coming out of the backfield. He's going to be the intended target. And Chad Kelly thinks Unger is the intended target. And he throws it out as if it was a hitch screen to the wideout, not a screen in behind a bubble screen to Kadeem Carey. Look at his reaction right here. I mean, he's like, come on, that was my play.
So instead, the Riders take over on downs. Mentioning Deontay Williams, he could have had the pick, and that would have given them slightly better field position, but still, it is Saskatchewan football, and again, they've been tough. Seen that before, forcing a turnover on downs when the Argos are in goal to go.
Yeah, well, that's 3 now. That's what the panel was talking about, and how even though Trevor Harris got into some turnover issues, the defense bailed him out.
They really have. It's a 2nd and 8. They are deep in their zone. Trevor Harris with Frankie Hickson beside him. He throws it to Emelis. Samuel Emelis has it, but inside the 10 still, so it's a 3rd down. So they bought a little bit of space, and certainly better than the alternative with the Argos pressing for a touchdown, but they will still be punting from their end zone.
And if they do punt this, they've been real good at directional kicking and putting it between the numbers and the sideline. And that's the goal, to get your cover teams so they don't have to cover 65 yards wide. They only have to cover about 25 yards from just outside the numbers to the sideline. So it's a little tougher, though, when you're kicking out of your own end zone.
Korsak standing in his end zone. It's a 6-point Rider lead. He has punted well. And he's going to the right again. Make it difficult for Grant, and another beautiful punt. They blow it as he had stepped out of bounds. They're just giving Grant no chance at all. 64-yard, brilliantly placed long punt by Adam Korsak to flip the field for Saskatchewan.
It's something Ryan Dinwiddie did not like to see, Rod, so he held an impromptu meeting with his entire offense, save for Chad Kelly, who was sitting next to quarterback coach Mike Miller. And the message, not too passionate, but certainly deliberate. Remember, guys, it's assignment, alignment, execution. We're getting to a critical point here, even though it's the 3rd quarter, and the Argos really need to put the ball in the end zone. Rod.
And Matthew, you look at the score, it's a 1-possession game. Riders with a 6-point lead. Just what a difference with those plays by the Saskatchewan defense near the goal line.
Yeah, no question. I mean, what could the score be? I mean, the Argos in the red zone, 13 of 19 coming into this game. That's almost 70%. It's real good. That's going to take a hit.
Has been so far as Kelly quickly knocked away. Batted down at the line of scrimmage, and it's C.J. Rivas having himself a game. Gets the hands up.
Yeah, he is, and it's been often on the pressure that Corey Mace has been talking about, you know, different looks and different guys stepping up, and raved about the start to the season for Roland Milligan. And talk to him next week. It'll be number 1 that he points out, because he's having himself a game.
Knocked away, so at the Argo 34, it's a 2nd and 10. Kelly in Toronto. He has time again. He steps up, and he's looking deep, and a flag is out just as he threw it. And it's caught. Big play. Is it coming back? DeMonte Coxie has it. Down close to the Saskatchewan 20, but you saw that flag come out.
Contact and receiver, Saskatchewan number 42. That penalty decline. 1st down.
Big gain for the Argos. 53 yards, their biggest on the night, as that penalty goes against the Riders.
Chad Kelly is taking this shotgun snap. We've seen this a few times, and with the protection, he steps up, gets on the run. That's a tough throw to make that far down the field. He gets it done, and earlier in the play, Adam O'Clair had an illegal contact. That'll be declined, and the Argos will take the play.
Well, here come the Argos again. They've got it down to the Rider 23. One big play, Kelly to Coxie. And here they come, down by a score. Kelly has time, and he's looking to the end zone, and again a flag is out. Marcus Sales too in the late coverage on Coxie, who wants another flag on that. There was one out earlier, but didn't like the coverage there. Here we are late in the 3rd quarter. For the calls here.
There are 2 infractions on the play. holding Toronto number 58. Defensive pass interference, Saskatchewan number 8. We're going to redo first down.
Offsetting penalties. Marcus Sales called on the PI for that second one.
And his back pedal turns and run, little inside cut to the post and then back to the corner. I don't know about that one either. But they were hand fighting and he kind of just went down on his own, but there was offsetting, there was a holding.
So here we go again, 1st and 10 at the 23.
Got him.
Little pitch back, flea flicker, end zone open. No, so close for Mackay Polk as he waited for the ball to arrive from Kelly on that flea flicker.
Well, that was the issue. Kelly needed to step into this and put some more zip on it because Polk was in behind. I mean, he was in behind. The secondary for the Riders was fooled, and Roland Milligan was one of them. He was right down that halfback spot. He got caught looking in the backfield to Carey. He turned around and pitched it back to Chad Kelly, and Polk was in behind. I mean, he was in behind by 5 yards before that happened. The ball took too long to get there, and the Saskatchewan DBs recovered.
2nd and 10 now. The Rider 23. Kelly throwing. It's caught. No, it's not. Just into the fingertips and out again. Tavares Daniels inside the 5. Once again, looks like he had it, but there was Rider defenders around him to make contact as soon as the ball arrived. So ends the 3rd quarter, and the Argos have certainly had their opportunities, but trouble cashing in. The difference in this quarter, a field goal by the Riders, increasing the lead to 16-10. Fans having a little version of whack-a-mole just when they think they have it. Another problem crops up, and so they're still trailing the Riders. So look at those numbers through 3 quarters.
Well, outstanding, defense in the red zone for Saskatchewan, no question. The turnovers have now balanced out. It was an edge for the Toronto Argonauts in the first half, and now it's a game. And I'll go back to the very beginning of this game, Rod, when we talked about these 2 great returners. And now we're in a 1-possession game. Mario Alford's still out there. Janarian Grant, they've been keeping him into the sideline. But those are 2 guys that are very explosive and can turn it around in a hurry.
They really are, and you see Laramai Ralahu out there right now to attempt a field goal to cut it to 3. He's been punting as well, but your point about special teams, and it's not that glamorous, the punting role. Adam Korsak's been outstanding keeping it away from Janarian Grant, but there's Ralahu. And that's what he's normally doing, a kicker, but called into duty to do the punting tonight. But he, once again, makes it's a 3-point game, just as it was at the half.
And this is the 4th quarter now. This is when your cover teams start to get a little fatigued. You start thinking, got to cover another punt. It's a 45-yard brawl, and one guy misses his lane, and these 2 guys will make you pay for it. And they both have one. Top 2 guys in the league, in my opinion, and there's some good ones. I mean, Montreal's got a good one. There's some great returners in the Canadian Football League, but these 2 guys top the list.
Got a lot on their resume, a lot of explosive plays. We saw that recently from Mario Alford. We've certainly seen it from Janarian Grant. So coming back and getting that is Dante Myers on that hitch, and he gets it up close to the 50. And it'll be a 2nd and short coming up here for Saskatchewan.
Well, the start to this game for Trevor Harris was simply outstanding. It looked like he was on pace for a 400-yard game, had 355 in his first game back from injury last week against the Montreal defense. But there's his start, 8 of 9, 98 yards and a TD, and it's been rough slugging since then.
From the Saskatchewan 49, it's a 2nd down and 1. Frankie Hickson looks like he has enough to pick up the first down for Saskatchewan. Hickson getting another start at running back for the Riders. That's his 4th of the season with the injury to A.J. Ouellette, who did play last week against the Alouettes.
Trevor Harris, we've seen some hitch screens, a couple of good throws on the out, some short corners, not really deep corners, and then a couple of benders in the middle, about 15 yards. I would suggest that to get the Argos off them a little bit, their defensive backs, take a couple of shots down the field.
Kian Schaefer-Baker, first game back, just 4 targets, just 2 catches for 11 yards. 1st and 10 up near midfield. Harris flushed out, and he throws it. It barely gets past the line of scrimmage. Derek Parrish for one, calling for a flag there.
Well, if it's behind the line of scrimmage, you don't have to have a receiver near the ball. I believe that was behind the line of scrimmage, but Sam Emelis is...
Oh, poor Peter Godberg.
Yeah, you won't see that very often. A little bit of pressure, and he was trying to get it to Sam Emelis.
A center's life is so few rewards. If you're going to throw it to me, tell me about it. Give me a chance to catch it. Flag out in the Rider backfield as Robbie Smith takes down Harris with no choice but to take off.
Yeah, and I didn't really...
Holding Saskatchewan number 51. That penalty is declined. It will be third down.
Peter Godber, though, as they head off.
Let's do this. Let's not replay the penalty because we replayed the shot on the back of the head. But it didn't look good the way Trevor Harris took off and ran there.
No.
You know, I know he's coming off that injury.
Against Hamilton at Mosaic in week 3, sprained MCL. And they're being very careful with him. Put him on the 6. He missed a lot of action, but back and really effective last week.
There he goes. There he goes.
There comes Janarian Grant. Kent couldn't keep him on hold the whole time. A flag comes out. Corsack was the one trying to wrestle him down as he got away from that. But the biggest return in this game, and it belongs to Janarian Grant, who has haunted the Riders in the past. 48-yard return, but flags are out.
Major foul, face mask, Saskatchewan number 10. 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the run.
Corsack had been able to keep the ball away from him, but when he had to try to tackle him, they're going to add to the total with that penalty yard. The CFL in the football world is mourning the loss of longtime coach Ken Miller, who passed away yesterday of cancer. Ken had close ties with both teams playing tonight. He started his CFL coaching career with the Argos in 2002, and as head coach of the Riders led them to back-to-back Grey Cup appearances in 2009 and 2010. Great coach, a true gentleman too. Ken Miller was 82 years of age. Beloved in Saskatchewan, especially for his time as the head coach with the Riders.
Absolutely, and a father figure to all the players he coached.
Chad Kelly, it's caught, it's down inside the 5. That's Tavares Daniel. So here we go again with the Argos. They've knocked on the door many times, but it's been hard to find their way into that Rider end zone.
But this is the type of throw that gets you down there again, and throw and catch, I should say, because that's a heck of an effort at the other end by Tavares Daniels to go out and just pull this in. Now, is he gonna get credit? It's automatically looked at. They say they're gonna play, and Chad Kelly's trying to snap this quickly.
First and goal, Argos. Kelly is still in there in short yardage and keeps it himself. They come in and take a look, but no, doesn't break the plane of the end zone. So a second down and goal coming up here for Toronto.
You know, when you just thinking about Ken Miller and what a great human being he was, and you know, every coach we've talked to, every player that played for him talks about him as a father figure, a grandfather figure, how he built relationships. Football is a people business, and Ken Miller was he was the example. He was the guy who made it a people business, empowered his players to own that locker room, make it your own.
Second down and goal. Kelly keeps again. He's going back, keeps on his feet, and he does not get into the end zone. And look who it is, C.J. Rivas, again with a big defensive play to deny an Argo touchdown, and third and goal is coming up.
We'll see based on tonight whether or not Ryan did when he goes for this. And just to wrap up Ken Miller, I used to love how he talked to the guys, and he called them the men in the room, and he would go to them and say, men, give us your best effort tonight. Yeah. And you know, I know the men in the room will never forget the positive influence that Ken Miller was on them.
Tremendous coach, tremendous man. From a media point of view, anytime dealing with him. Such a loss. It's 3rd and goal now. Saskatchewan 1. Can the Argos finally score a touchdown in these situations? Kadeem Carey. They're pushing back.
Didn't get there.
They're not signaling touchdown. Could this be another turnover on downs? Spearheaded by Saskatchewan's defense near the goal line. Brian Cox. The 3rd time in this game on a 3rd and goal, and the Argos end up with nothing.
And if Ken Miller was here, he would have said, what do Riders do? Ride. Another goal line stand. Rivas again. Rider defense putting up a wall down on that goal line. This is a 2nd down play for Chad Kelly, trying to take it wide and get around the corner. A real push in the middle caused him to bubble, and then CJ Rivas gets involved there. Here's 3rd down, and look at number 1 stepping up. Some help from Eau Claire, and they turn it away.
What a night for CJ Rivas. 8 tackles, a quarterback sack as well. Big tackles too. Here's Frankie Hickson, who is not going to be tackled easily as he buys them some space. He gets it out near the 15 on that 1st down play to move the sticks.
That's what it is. It's a chance to get out of the shadow of your own goalpost and get even a little breathing room to run the offense. That's a big run. The last time they got the turnover down here, Trevor Harris threw an interception, and the Argos got it right back. Now their defense bailed them out again there, but that's a big play.
Another good performance by Hickson, filling in for A.J. Ouellette. 15 carries, 77 yards. Yeah, that big 1st down out to the 15 now. Saskatchewan still leading by 3. And this toss is off to Kean Schaefer-Baker. Mentioned we haven't seen much of him tonight, just his 3rd catch, and that one's going nowhere. In fact, a loss of some yardage for the product of Guelph, coming back after missing 4 games.
I think the throw kind of handcuffed him, and when it did, he had to kind of regroup to try and turn around. If that throw it looks like a real high percentage throw, but it's actually difficult because the quarterback doesn't really see the full receiver. He just sees the shoulder.
And the result is, despite a completed pass by Harris, it's a loss of 4 to Schaefer-Baker. 2nd down and 14, and the Riders back at their 11, hanging on to a 3-point lead. And there's Myers, and he can't secure the football before he turns it up. You know, that's what he wanted to do. Get it? See if he can quickly turn it up the field, but it falls incomplete. And as I say, overall, given where the Argos were, the Riders will take it, but they'll have to punt again from their end zone.
Yeah, and with Janarian Grant, he just got a nice return on the last kick that didn't quite get between the numbers and the sideline. Closer to the middle, that's where Grant can make you pay. This will be good field position for the Argo offense.
The Argos have certainly had their chances to score points and take the lead. Just haven't been able to do so, and they're going to have it in good position here at midfield for, that's Deontay McMahon after a 46-yard punt by Adam Korsak to get it to the Rider 50. So again, the Argos, they don't have the points to show for it. At the CNE, they're still going tonight. Back at BMO, 8.5 minutes to go in the 4th quarter. The Argos have reason to think they should be well ahead in this game, but they're not. They're trailing. And there's another quick one from Chad Kelly to Tavares Daniels to pick up a 1st down, get it down to the Rider 35. Getting down the field isn't the problem. Getting the touchdown is.
Well, yeah, and that's where the Rider defense has bent a little bit. They've given up some yardage, but they haven't broken, and they get down inside the 5 and they lock it down. And you look at the points that could be on the board for the Argos. You're talking about 28 points. They had opportunities inside the 5.
All those chances. And here running the football, Kadeem carries. He works it down to about the 32. You're right. Denied him 3 times on 3rd and goal, so that's a possible 21. Another time when they thought they had the touchdown, had to settle for 3. So you had 3 points instead of a possible 28. And
so if he gets into that situation one more time, does he kick the field goal on 3rd and 1?
You gotta wonder now.
I mean, now it's tying the game, and now you're deep into the 4th.
3 times on a 3rd and goal from the 1. Last time out, they had a 1st and goal down there at the 1. Just couldn't punch it in. Kelly to the right. It's caught. Down around the 25. That's Mackay Polk with another catch and another first down for Toronto. Past the midway point of this fourth quarter as the Argos are trying to improve to 6-4.
Jameer Thurman flew out there from inside out, tried to get there, and the timing of that throw bang on.
And the Riders just trying to hang on at this point, nursing that 3-point lead. Lower scoring second half. Under 7 minutes to go. Right at the 25 and a 1st and 10 for Chad Kelly. Taking the handoff, throwing it off to the right. Janarian Grant. He spins around and he makes something out of this. Grant, mentioned before, he's not used in offense very much. Has that catch, and it'll be close to another Argo first down, closer to the 15.
Yeah, and we talked about it from an Argo perspective the last time he got the ball on offense, and this time we talked about from a Saskatchewan perspective, which is once he's out there on offense, you know what they're going to do. They're going to throw it to him. He just made a bunch of people miss there.
Whenever you see a star returner used in offense, you know they're just trying to, you're right, trying to get him in space and let him work his magic. He certainly did nice that way, cutting it back, turning around. Kadeem Carey going nowhere. Lost a couple of yards too. CJ Rivas.
Wow. And the reaction
again.
The reaction from Chad Kelly too, Rod, was interesting. He turned around when the call was that running play. Kind of threw his hands in the air. Deep set here for Kadeem Carey. Really allows, and guess who fills the hole? Micah Johnson in the backfield.
Known to do that the course of his great career. And so third down, and they get pushed a few yards back, and it's a definite field goal situation now. They need something to show for all this offense they've had in the second half. Liram Haralahu. And puts that one through. So finally they do get some points. It's now a 16-16 tie. The CFL coming to CTV. And these are the games you'd be able to see all on Saturday, 3 p.m. Eastern, starting September the 7th. That would be the Banjo Bowl. Saskatchewan versus Winnipeg. A week later, Ottawa versus Hamilton. But good slate of games.
Yeah.
And the East Final and the Eastern Semifinal and the Grey Cup, all to be seen on CTV.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Get to every corner of this country. And we kick it off with the Banjo Bowl. That's a great way to start that rivalry.
The traditional rematch after their Labor Day matchup in Regina. That one always in Winnipeg, the Banjo Bowl, September 7th. Here's Trevor Harris, open receiver two. Who keeps going? That's Samuel Amelis. Oh my goodness, and the way he was tackled, good to see him get right back up and jog. He was tackled awkwardly by Mark Milton, but a great play by Amelis to get the Riders offense going.
Yeah, this was what I was suggesting, you know, about 2 or 3 series ago for the Rider offense. Like, even if you don't complete this, you plant a seed in the DB's head that you are going to throw it deep. You will throw it deep down the middle, and Emelis, it's a nice job of making that catch. Boy, it's amazing he got up and was fine, because that looked like it hurt.
I'm going to say you fear for them when they're going down like that awkwardly for the knees, but it turned out, thankfully, not to be as bad as it looked, as Emelis got right up, 1st and 10. Argo 36, Saskatchewan. A lower throw. It is caught by Keyshawn Johnson, and he is forced to go down to get it after a pickup of about 5 yards for Saskatchewan.
Trevor Harris had to pick himself up off the turf on that one. He threw right into the teeth of that blitz. Robbie Smith coming in off the edge, and he has to step into the teeth of this blitz, and boom, that one hurt.
Robbie Smith, veteran out of Wilfrid Laurier, been a fixture on that defensive line for a few years now with Toronto. It's a 2nd and 7. The Riders at the Argo 33, 16-16 tie, 4th quarter. It's caught, and Emelis trying to keep his feet and get the first down. He'll end up just a couple of yards shy on that play as we get closer to the 3-minute warning.
Well, Brett Lowther's got a big one here.
And so far, he is having a better night at 3 for 3. And yes,
now he's got to think about it, because it's a 3-minute warning.
3-minute warning as they think about trying to get a 3-point lead again restored. Depend on
Thursday Night Football is presented by New York Fries. Give your taste buds something to cheer about at New York Fries.
Some drama back at BMO for that man too. Veteran kicker Brett Lauther, who had really a disappointing, to say the least, awful night against Montreal when he went 3 for 7, missed a chance to force the tie. This game is tied, 3 minutes on the clock. He's made from 43, 43, and 40, and this will be a 37-yard try. Perfect on the night at 3 for 3. Will that continue here and give Saskatchewan the lead again? With Adam Korsak to put it down. Lauther. And through it goes. Bottom line is he's 4 for 4, and the Riders lead again.
Well, you know, when that Montreal game ended and he took full responsibility, he sat in the locker room and took all the questions from the media, took responsibility for the loss. His teammates have backed him. The coach has backed him. You know, a lot of other coaches might have brought in another kicker immediately. They didn't with Brett Lauther. They said, he's going to fight through it. He'll be fine. We're going to get him back. We trust him. We believe in him. I know Trevor Harris told us that he texted him immediately the next morning to make sure he was okay. He's got his teammates behind him, and he's hit 4 tonight.
I was going to say he's rewarding the faith that they continue to have in him despite what happened last week. As Lauther will back on to kick this one off. The Argos back trailing again. Yeah, those 12 points, those 4 field goals, the way it's gone for Saskatchewan after an impressive start, the way the Argos took over, but just have left a lot of points off the board for Ryan Dinwiddie's team, and Toronto trailing by 3 again.
I'll also say that if you are judged, if your career is judged on one game, nobody makes it.
Right.
Nobody stays for even a season, because everybody has that bad game.
And that was the inspiring part that you mentioned Trevor Harris, Corey Mace as well, but unconditional, unwavering support. They talked to us about, you talked about how quickly Trevor Harris had texted him and reached out to him, just said, we got your back.
Yeah.
And that's,
we believe you. You're going to be our guy. We got your back. And that's what didn't bring in any kicker, you know, competition or anything like that. Let Brett Lauther work through it, and 4 for 4 tonight, but we got 2:45 left.
an eternity, as you've often pointed out.
You might need to go 5 for 5.
Game's just getting started late here in the 4th. The Argos bobbled a little bit by Deontay McMahon across the 30 and the 35, pushed out around the 36. And so Chad Kelly and the Argo offense coming back on. And if you're just measuring, you know, the yardage they put up in the second half and their ability to get down the field, it's been outstanding, but they just don't have the points to show for it.
Yeah, red zone offense percentage has taken a major hit tonight. As I mentioned, it was at 70. It's no longer at 70.
Took a big drop tonight, that's for sure. 3 times at 3rd and goal at the 1. 3 times denied. From the 37 and a 1st and 10, there's a deep look down the left. Coverage is there. It's intercepted. Marcus Sayles has it in his hands for his 2nd interception. And Kelly was down, helmet off, and complaining about a hit he took to the face. They're getting rid of that football, but it comes up. Another pick, another turnover for Saskatchewan.
Marcus Sayles had a tough pass interference call last week. There's the hit that Kelly took. It was a pass interference call. I didn't think it was one. You know, it depends on what colored glasses I guess you're watching the game with, but that's a big one for Marcus Sayles, who had another one. He had one coming in, and that was against the Argos as well.
And that one went for a touchdown.
Let's take a look at the hit and see if it was high. It looked like the shoulder.
Miles Brown coming in, got his shoulder up high in the face and the helmet of Chad Kelly. But yeah, Marcus Sayles against the Argos back in week 5 picked off Cameron Dukes, took it for a touchdown. One of 4 interceptions that Dukes had thrown that night. And the Argos loss at Mosaic.
Timeout. Timeout, Toronto.
I'm going to say it looked like Miles Brown lowered his shoulder enough to hit the target zone below the neck. above the knees, clearly above the knees, but we'll take one more look at it. There's already been a play run, so they're not going to go back now. But there he is there, and watch how he dips his shoulder here. He gets an inside move, and then see how he dips, tries to take his head out of it, and dips the right shoulder and hits him right in the chest plate. It's a good solid hit.
Yeah, hit him lower, and saw Kelly take off the helmet and pointing his jaw area. But 2nd and 8, bottom line, Saskatchewan football. Saskatchewan lead. And it's late, 2.5 minutes. Counting down, pressure coming. Harris gets it away, but it's behind Samuel Emilus. Bobbles, and the Riders are lucky that an Argo defender wasn't close enough to pick that one off.
Yeah, and as accurate as Trevor Harris was in the first quarter, and as he's been in his career, this one he wants back. It's just behind Emilus. Although he may wanted to have Emilus sit down and not cross all the way, but he pointed to himself immediately. It's in behind him, and he catches that. He has the first down. Turns the corner.
So very little taken off the clock. It's still at 2:20, and Kelly and the Argos will be getting it back. Janarian Grant at about the Toronto 15. But one big return, and topped off with a penalty as well for face masking, and that one goes Deontay McMahon's way inside the 25. McMahon and up to the 30 and a little bit across. So 19-16 Saskatchewan, 2:08 on the clock. Turnovers have been big in this game.
Yeah, so credit to the team that came into the game leading the giveaway takeaway category with a +14, well above anyone else in the league, and they kept at it down to the goal line inside the 5, turned away, run game didn't work, and then this interception on Marcus Sales. And
so Corey Mace's team +14 heading in, +2 tonight in the giveaway takeaway, and 3 of those turnovers forced on downs right down near the goal line.
And you see the difference. I mean, +16, the next closest is a +7. I mean, defense is flying around and making things happen, and they didn't concede or give up down inside the 5-yard line.
2nd and 6, the 35. It's caught. It's a first down. It's David Unger to the far side of the field up to around the 50.
Unger has quietly had a pretty good night too.
Only recently came back, starting the season on the 6th game after a productive season, his best season of his young CFL career with Toronto last year in his first season with the Argos after starting with Hamilton. So Unger the catch. It's up at the 50. It's a first down, 4-man rush. Kelly steps up. He puts it over for Carey, and it's a little bit short as Carey's not able to get his hands on that as it rated as shoe tops. It's incomplete.
Big down here, but take a look, depending on how much time this play takes, likely 3-down football for the Argos. Kelly doesn't have to necessarily throw it for the first down.
And first time this season an Argo quarterback has hit the 300 mark, as Kelly does in his first game coming out of the suspension. And back to pass again. Over the middle, deeper, in coverage too. Daniels, Deontay Williams was there to help knock that one away, and a 3rd down and 10 is coming up Toronto.
That's what my point was. If you know, because of the time left on the clock, and you're Ryan Dinwiddie, that you're going to go for it on 3rd down, that you have to go 3rd down. You know, you don't necessarily need to throw it 30 yards on that play. You know, even if you go screen and get 7, now you're 3rd and 3 rather than 3rd and 10. This plays into Saskatchewan's defense hands.
Different than goal to go, but nonetheless.
Where's Revis?
Yeah, 3rd down for the Argos has not been kind. We got movement. Looks like the rookie right guard, Van Dal, who's been flagged earlier for procedure, and it looks like it's going against Toronto.
I don't think Ryan Dinwiddie's even thinking about
legal procedure. Toronto number 58, 5-yard penalty.
With 1:44.
3rd down.
Now the penalty stops the clock until they snap the ball, but when you're Ryan Dinwiddie now at 144, I think you're looking at, you got to go. You're not going to get the ball back if you don't.
Well, 3 times, to think of it, 3 times they've gambled on 3rd down when they just needed a yard for a touchdown. Now we're talking about a 3rd down gamble late in this game, 1:44 on the clock, and they need 15 to keep it going. Here we go, 3-man rush. The Riders drop back. Kelly looking for that 1st down. It's caught, and they do have it. Ungerer, the reliable receiver for the Argos in this drive, has the catch. And it is a big 1st down for Toronto. This drive continues.
Yes, it is. And that one is all on Ungerer because that was a little underthrown. It's a long throw for Chad Kelly to get it all the way over there to the sideline. He had to come all the way back. 2-3 hard steps back, but still a yard beyond the sticks.
So that 3rd down gamble does pay off. 1.5 minutes to go. Faking the handoff. Throwing and dropped. Intended for Daniels. And couldn't hang on, and that would have been another Argo 1st down and indefinite field goal range.
Yeah, I would suggest on those throws going into the middle where the linebackers hang out, the ones that are high and behind you become that much harder. There's just that thought that here comes Jameer Thurman or one of them.
Well, Daniels was able to get a touch on the ball, but yeah, that was tricky. High and behind. Incomplete, 2nd and 10. The Rider 48 swinging it out. Carey. Some valuable real estate here too for the Argos, even without a 1st down, to get it closer for Lirim Hajrullahu for a field goal try. Getting it down around the 43. We're looking at about a 50-yard try to tie the game.
With a little bit of a breeze, according to the flags, the far goalpost, a little bit of the breeze at his back. And Mario Alford back there, just in case.
Well, for either of these returners tonight, yeah, that'd be a killer, a missed field goal with them returning it. Seen that from Alford. Hajrullahu made some clutch kicks for the Argos in his return to the CFL this year. This is to tie the game. And it started left, but it went back, splits the uprights. 19-19, 1:02 on the clock.
1:02 is a ton of time.
Which makes us bring up the name Brett Lawther again, and we do wonder.
Well,
you know, he hasn't missed tonight. 4 for 4, and is it going to come on his foot with a chance to win the game? We shall see what happens with Harry. There's Lawther there, and up until last week, I mean, that would have been his worst game against the Alouettes. But we braved too. He had a walk-off winner in Hamilton.
Sure.
He's made some big kicks for this franchise.
Yeah, no question. And you know, his kicking percentage this year isn't good, but and when you compare it to the rest of the kickers in the league too, they're having an outstanding year.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the kickers in the league are just, I mean, I don't think Sean White has missed yet.
No.
In BC. So, you know, guys, that's happening as well, which puts it in contrast even that much more. But yeah, you know, right now he is fighting off the demons. He's fighting off the negative thoughts. No matter how good he's played tonight, this might come down to one more for him. And it's tough. Now, what he's hoping is that number 2 just ends all the discussion and takes it to the house.
Well, he could take care of things on his own. We've seen that before. Well, on his own with some great blocking in front of him too. But see how it plays out with 1:02 on the clock and Hajrullahu kicking off from the Argo 30. Riders going to get the ball in a tie game late, final minute. Alford, little hop, finds some room, and he gets it up across the 30. So Trevor Harris, 55 seconds on the clock.
Well, this flag might be big. See a flag?
There is a penalty about the...
During the return, holding, Saskatchewan number 28, 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
It is big. A holding call that pushes them back. So instead of being just across the 30, knock 10 yards off that and begin where the holding penalty was, and then 10 further back. So much further. They marched that ball off inside the 10, down to about the 8-yard line. So a long way to go, even for the possibility of a field goal at 55 seconds in a tie game.
The Argos are thinking turnover. And time to kick the field goal the other way.
Well, if they don't get a first down, be interesting to see how much time actually they take on the clock, because you're right. Argos, you're right. They'd be licking their chops. Here we go. Big first down. Harris. Oh, they got him. He barely stays out of the end zone. Trevor Harris is sacked. If they got him in the end zone, it would have been an Argo lead and getting the ball. But as it stands, Harris did go down just outside the end zone. Ralph Hawley getting to Trevor Harris.
Yeah, you know, it looked like he knew that he was right there, and Hawley had him and was going to try. He was going for the safety. Harris fought to get back to the goal line. I think he landed right on the white stripe, but there he is there. I mean, this is a guy who has just got the bull rush down pat. The entire pocket collapsed, but you saw Trevor look down, see the white stripe, and think, I might give up 2 here.
They had a long way to go for a first down, 17 yards. It's caught. Schaefer Baker. That'll silence the crowd. What a big second down play. Or was it whistled down beforehand?
Prior to the ball being snapped, Saskatchewan called timeout.
So no, when it looked like Schaefer Baker would have enough yardage, there was a whistle and a timeout called just before that play. 24 seconds on the clock.
Well, Trevor Harris was busy. So was it the timeout from the sideline? It had to be the timeout came from the sideline, because now Trevor Harris trying to get a play, but he broke the huddle trying to catch the Argo defense not ready on the snap. Hit Schaefer Baker over the middle, but looked like the bench had called a timeout.
Saskatchewan called a timeout with 31 seconds left on the clock.
So it remains a tie game. 19-19, 31 seconds now on the clock. 2nd and 17. The Riders backed up to their end zone. But they have to punt from deep in their own zone. Harris again. It's almost caught. Had a receiver in traffic, in a crowd there. It was MLS, and it falls incomplete, so they will indeed have to punt from their end zone.
Fraser Sopak almost had an interception, and that would have been an interception in chip shot field goal range. Look at this close. 32 is right there. MLS had a shot at it. Ball comes out.
That close. For Emilus, who remains down.
He's taken some hits in this fourth quarter.
Sure has. And opportunity Argos now. Janarian Grant, Deontay McMahon are standing at midfield. Be a while as they tend to Emilus. But Adam Korsak, who has punted so well tonight. 46.7 average and really well placed. And a big demand on him right now to have a big punt, but also try to position it again that they can't have the big return and get themselves in the field goal range. They'd be close in this transaction to begin with anyway.
As soon as that official blows it in.
Good chance.
There we go.
The Argos would be in field goal range regardless here. Korsak very deep.
Try and run it down. Well, they don't.
25 seconds. And Grant has it. They're in range.
Yeah.
Get it down to the 36. So see how they approach this as Kelly comes on to position it for Liram Hairelahu.
Well, just looking at that, there were 14 seconds left on the 20-second clock when that was kicked. And, you know, if you run those 14 seconds, snap the ball right at the end of it, that may have, that Janarian Grant return may have eaten up the final few seconds of this regulation. In regulation, we go to overtime.
But now in the Grant return after the Korsak punt, 16 seconds on the ground, pick up a few yards, and they're at the left hash now. See if they just try on another play to center it up for Liram Hairelahu, who's actually coming on the field now on 2nd down.
Yeah, and this is not a bad strategy, because you can go on 2nd down if there's an issue with the hold or You have to fall on it. Something happens like that, you can get another chance on at third down. But are they going to?
Lirim Hajrullahu back in week 3 had a walk-off winner against Edmonton, and then a few weeks later against Winnipeg in overtime had a chance for another walk-off winner. Clock ticking down to 0. Final play for the walk-off Argo win. Hajrullahu heading left.
Missed it.
It heads out, but it's a single point, and it doesn't matter. He kicked it far enough, didn't get the field goal, but the Argos do get the win. And that was their first lead in this game. And it comes right on the final play. Well, the Argos left a lot of points off the board. Ultimately, they just had enough.